Susanna stumbled upon a button. One press and 60 billion would be hers. The catch was that Susanna would be thrust into the chaos of a tragic romance novel. "Bring it on!" Susanna declared, slamming the button in a flash of white light. Susanna became the ill-fated heroine, a woman tortured physically and emotionally by William Rossington, the male lead doomed to die from an incurable illness. "This is love, what a joke," Susanna muttered, unimpressed, later. William knelt at Susanna's feet, tears cascading down his jawline. "Did you ever love me?" William sobbed, flicking away his tears. Susanna smiled serenely. How could Susanna not feel this way? After all, William was worth 60 billion. If William were offered the same deal, a button for boundless wealth, but at the cost of venturing into a torturous story, what would William choose for Susanna? The answer was simple for Susanna. Full speed ahead. Welcome to Here's channel. Subscribe to follow all of Susanna's latest adventures. The story begins. Half a year as the heroine and still William had not made an appearance. For now, Susanna lived a charmed life as the pampered daughter of a wealthy family. But Susanna knew the moment William arrived, their marriage would mark the end of her golden days. Susanna's friend Emily squealed, clutching her phone like a treasure. "Did you hear? William Rossington's heir is back in town." Emily's eyes sparkled with hope. "You're finally getting your happy ending." That was what everyone thought. William Rossington's return meant Susanna's long wait was over. As if Susanna's life was incomplete without a man to tie it together, not just in Emily's eyes. The sentiment extended to the system bound to Susanna. Yes, Susanna had a system. Its promise was clear. Complete the assigned tasks, and the 60 billion would be Susanna's. The system chirped eagerly. William Rossington's return is imminent. Susanna Connery. Do you remember the plot? The task requires William to adore. A head over heels, can't live without you kind of love. Susanna Connery remained silent at the novel, as her fate was grim. Susanna had become mute, enduring the abuse inflicted by William Rossington and his impoverished lover. In stoic silence, the lover would frame Susanna, while she would remain a paragon of moral righteousness, refusing to defend herself. William Rossington would oscillate between love and hate, subjecting Susanna to cruelty for the sake of his lover. Then, as Susanna Connery's terminal illness claimed her, William Rossington would shift to tormenting Katrina Routledge in grief-stricken vengeance. The ultimate revenge would be Susanna's quiet demise, leaving William to drown in regret and squander his wealth in despair. It was tragic poetry, if one liked that sort of thing. Upon reading the plot, Susanna promptly scheduled a full medical checkup, adopted a healthy lifestyle, and cut out every bad habit. After all, health is the cornerstone of revolution. Why? To bank on William's post-mortem regret when Susanna could claim her fortune alive. When William Rossington finally returned, he brought Katrina Routledge, his lover, with him. Their public appearances at Susanna's birthday party turned her into a laughingstock. Katrina stepped out of William's car, dressed to the nines. In the novel, Susanna was supposed to bite her lip, tears brimming in her eyes, enduring it all in silence to elicit William's sympathy, not a chance with a grace befitting a Connery. Susanna adjusted her shawl, donned a dazzling smile, and strode up to William. "William," Susanna said sweetly. Susanna smiled sweetly at William. "It's been ages. What gift did you bring me? You'd better hope it's good. Otherwise, I might get upset. As your fiancé, I have every right to ask, Susanna declared, her tone light yet assertive. Meanwhile, Katrina found herself overshadowed in this moment. Her presence diminished. Susanna's composed demeanor caught William off guard, prompting him to subtly distance himself from Katrina. Of course, I prepared something for you, William replied, retrieving a diamond necklace from his pocket. The piece sparkled with the rare brilliance of pink diamonds. In the original plot, this necklace would have been intended for Katrina, a symbol of Susanna's potential humiliation. But Susanna refused to let trivial emotions rob her of tangible gains. Susanna tilted her head, brushing her hair aside. "Help me put it on," Susanna instructed. William hesitated, casting a glance at Katrina. Susanna leaned closer, whispering, "William, don't be rash. Everyone's watching." Their bond was not merely emotional. It represented a strategic alliance between two powerful families. Whether or not William loved Susanna, she possessed countless ways to ensure he couldn't break away. Pandering to him was the least efficient option. Their intimate interaction left Katrina pale. Perhaps Katrina had envisioned Susanna as a tearful victim, helplessly watching as they paraded their love. Love, unfortunately for Katrina, extends beyond romance. Partnerships, alliances, and reputations often matter far more. The system, however, was baffled. The electronic voice inquired, "Why is William's affection rising? What did you do?" Swirling her wine, Susanna chuckled, watching Katrina sulk in the corner. Susanna simply reminded William that she was not just his fiancée. She was his equal, his partner. "You see," Susanna explained, "love pales in comparison when measured against value. Rather than showing him affection, I prefer to make him understand my worth." At the far end of the hallway, Katrina Routledge clung to William Rossington. Tears flowed freely down Katrina's cheeks. "I'm sorry, William," Katrina whimpered. "I didn't mean to cause trouble. I was just too upset. I know we've broken up, but I couldn't resist coming to see your fiancé." Katrina lowered her gaze, her voice trembling. "Susanna Connery is amazing. If I had a family background like hers, maybe we wouldn't have had to part ways in the original plot." Susanna was meant to hear this exchange, retreating heartbroken and silently enduring her pain. Not this time. Susanna Connery stepped out from behind the door, her heels clicking decisively on the polished floor. The tables turned in an instant. William Rossington's face drained of color as he pushed Katrina Routledge away, fumbling for an explanation. Susanna didn't bother with accusations. Her gaze shifted to Katrina, cold and piercing. "Miss Routledge," Susanna began with calm precision, "I've heard about you. William had a beautiful love story, but that was in the past. Now that you're no longer together, it's inappropriate for you to attend my birthday party, especially as his former lover." Susanna smiled faintly. The edge in Susanna's tone was unmistakable. The guests tonight were Susanna's family's longtime friends, uncles and aunts who watched William grow up. Did it not cross Katrina's mind how bringing her here might reflect on William? If Katrina were curious about Susanna, there were countless ways they could have met. But this was beneath her. Katrina stiffened, her lips parting to protest. But Susanna didn't give her the chance. Turning to William, Susanna's voice hardened. "William, this was poorly done. I am not pleased." You need to understand that tonight isn't just a birthday celebration. This was the first time Susanna introduced William as her fiancé to their social circle. Did Susanna need to spell out the significance of such an occasion? William was not a child. Susanna expected William's father to give her family a proper explanation without waiting for his response. Susanna turned on her heel and walked away, her composure unshaken. William called after Susanna, desperation creeping into his tone, but Susanna silenced him with a raised hand. "Enough. We have more important matters to attend to," Susanna stated firmly. Some conversations were better had in private. The system buzzed with confusion. The system's electronic voice was filled with disbelief. "Susanna, didn't you say you wouldn't use pity as a tactic? Then why confront him so directly?" Susanna swirled the wine in her glass, watching the liquid catch the light before replying. "This isn't about pity." William made the mistake. The embarrassment should fall on him and Katrina, not me. Our engagement isn't built on love. It's a business alliance. His feelings are irrelevant. What matters is that he acts with decorum. William's actions may have been disgraceful, but Susanna's response aligned perfectly with the poise expected of her. Thus, the ones left humiliated were William Rossington and Katrina Routledge, both of whom had a status like Susanna Connery. Why should Susanna bother whether a man loves her or not? The thought itself is laughable. It's William Rossington who should be considering how to keep Susanna satisfied. After all, it wouldn't be difficult for Susanna to find another match, just as good, if not better. The day after the party, William Rossington's father personally came to the Connery household to apologize. Naturally, Mr. Connery and Susanna didn't make things too difficult for him. What Susanna needed wasn't a drawn-out conflict, but the Rossington family's respect. A public acknowledgement that would save face for all involved. Did Susanna Connery think this would make William Rossington fall in love with Katrina Routledge? That was irrelevant, Susanna replied. There were many forms of love. Rather than being William's wife, Susanna would rather be his father in stories like these. The drama always revolved around the leads, and the supporting characters avoided it. It was impossible. It was only a matter of time before Susanna was dragged in. At a luxury boutique, Susanna ran into Katrina Routledge. Coincidentally, both women had their eyes on the same handbag. The sales associate hesitated. The sales associate spoke gently, apologizing. "I'm sorry, but we only have one of this model left in stock." Katrina Routledge's voice remained soft, yet her eyes glimmered with a hint of malice. "Miss Connery, I saw it first," Katrina said with a slight smile. She added, "William Rossington mentioned he wanted to buy me a gift. Imagine my surprise running into you here. Do you think this bag suits me?" This interaction was unexpected and not part of the original storyline. The birthday party must have unsettled Katrina, enough to provoke her into openly challenging Susanna Connery. What would William do in this situation? Susanna was accustomed to the system. If Susanna slapped Katrina right now, the system stammered in alarm. "Don't do that. You're scaring me," it warned. Of course, Susanna wouldn't resort to violence. It wasn't necessary. It was just a bag. Susanna pointed at it. "Wrap it up for Miss Routledge and put it on my account." The sales associate believed and rushed off to pack the item. Katrina stood beside Susanna, her eyes shimmering, looking every bit the victim. Susanna shook her head with a smile. "Miss Routledge, you're not very clever." Katrina blinked, startled. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what I said." What does Katrina hope to achieve by provoking Susanna? Does Katrina believe Susanna would stoop to creating a scene with William over something as trivial as this? The logic of a supporting character in these tragic romances is baffling. Instead of focusing on winning the man, Katrina wastes her time targeting the lead. Are you mocking me? Katrina snapped, her tone defiant. Susanna leaned in closer, her voice low and teasing. No, darling, Susanna is educating you. Katrina recoiled as if burned, her expression a mix of confusion and anger. Susanna then patted Katrina on the shoulder. Susanna handed Katrina the wrapped bag. This is for you, Susanna said lightly. Enjoy it. Be happy. The system was utterly bewildered. I don't understand you humans at all, it remarked. Susanna calmly reviewed a file. Her assistant had just sent over a dossier on Katrina Routledge, who was born into a family that valued sons over daughters. Katrina had received an excellent education, but was still weighed down by her family's demands. She had gone abroad. Her mother, hoping she might catch the eye of a wealthy suitor, only to return to bail out her troublemaking younger brother. After Jonathan landed in legal trouble, Katrina had potential, intelligence, and observant skills. Yet Katrina chose the most precarious path, relying on men like William Rossington, banking on love without any guarantees. The system reminded Susanna hesitantly that she needed to raise William Rossington's affection to 100 to earn the 60 billion. Susanna smirked. Can the system tell who has the highest affection for Susanna right now? The system paused. It is Jonathan Connery, as the original character's only child. Susanna had grown up as the apple of his eye. Even after Emily's mother passed, Thomas showered Emily with love, though Thomas's stoic nature often masked it. The former Emily Connery had cherished a romanticized notion of love, pure, selfless, and all-consuming. Emily saw William Rossington as a broken man in need of her unconditional devotion. It was a pity. William didn't deserve that kind of love, Emily remarked, amused. That if she became William's father, wouldn't his affection skyrocket? The system interjected, exasperated, stating that biologically that was impossible. Susanna waved it off, explaining that it was a metaphor in their world. There were more than one kind of parent. If Susanna controlled William's fate, he would bow and call her his godmother. The news of Susanna's encounter with Katrina soon reached William. He sought Susanna out, clearly flustered. I owe you an apology, William began. I'll speak with Katrina and make things right. Pouring herself a cup of tea, Susanna responded calmly. William, I shouldn't have to remind you twice about showing me basic respect. Don't make me say it a third time, do you agree? William Rossington looked uncomfortable. William replied, You're right, I'll handle it. Susanna Connery did not acknowledge William's words. Sipping tea, Susanna thought about how men were simple creatures. Blindly accommodating them accomplished nothing. Susanna wondered why men would treasure something so easily obtained. Firmness paired with affection was the perfect balance. Are you still upset? Susanna asked, considering Katrina Routledge had her reasons. Susanna handed William a cup of tea, cutting him off. Try this. It's a new tea blending technique I learned. What do you think? William sipped obediently. It's good. Just good, Susanna teased while pouting. Ever since William returned, Susanna had been dealing with him and Katrina. It always seemed to be about Katrina. What's going on with you, William? Susanna asked as William froze, clearly caught off guard.